Welcome to Soul Food and Renee. One of the aspects of the Catholic faith that I love most is learning about saints. I think like most people, we often think of saints as not real people. The interesting thing is we're all called to be saints. Saints are not freaks or exceptions. Rather, they are model for human beings. Today, I have some friends with me who love talking about saints as much as I do. So I thought it's kind of appropriate, since there are so many saints to count. We are kind of like salads. We're going to make our favorite salad and talk about our favorite saints. So welcome, girls. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
So, we always have our gatherings. And Amanda, I know this is like one of your favorites. I love making salads. Everyone knows that I love salad. I don't feel like a meal's complete without a salad. So the kind of like the ones that everyone always requests are my kale salad or my Greek salad, which I'm sure I'll make on another show. But today we're gonna make my kale salad that you all love. So I'm making a really big bowl for us because I know how much you love it. So, I'm going to just be chopping up some of this kale. So girls, I don't know how many times we've prayed these different novenas, right? So Amanda, share with everyone what a novena is, because some people might not know what that is.
So a novena is a prayer that we're praying for 9 days. It could be a prayer, a novena to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, possibly. So it doesn't even have to be to a saint, but it's a prayer we say consecutively for 9 days. And we have a very special intention when praying these novenas. Sometimes, me personally, I don't have any special intention, but I feel called to pray certain novenas just for kind of whatever's going on in the world, or just something. So prayer for 9 days. Usually novenas are prayed. We pray saint novenas, so we're praying through the saints. So our prayers,
we're not praying to the saints,
no,
though, right?
Definitely through the saints, because they're like right up there with Jesus. And how much better is it for someone who's right next to Jesus to pray for us than our own prayers that are like blocked by our sin and just everything that we do in this world. So a novena is a very, very special, powerful prayer that I love. If it was not for novenas, I don't want to say how weak my faith would be, but it's definitely strengthened it because of the power of the novenas and the beauty through them.
Sure. And sorry, girls, I'm going to come back, but I'm just chopping this kale salad. I want everyone to just know I'm just chopping kale salad. I'm going to run through these ingredients. But, really, when it comes to saints, I really don't even know how many. It must be in like the thousands. But I think we all have our favorite. Me personally, as you could see, the Blessed Mother, she is truly the Queen of heaven and earth. She's our mother in every sense of the word. I go to her always as if I would go to my own mother. And her intercession is very powerful. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people will think, you Catholics, you worship Mother Mary. No, we do not. We honor her. And as Jesus' mother, he gave her to us on the cross. So she's definitely, I don't know, it's kind of tough. Mother Mary and Saint Therese, she is, the saint of the little flowers. She's known for roses. So I think those roses are appropriate. I think they're like two of my favorite saints. But I think there's so much power in their prayer. And that's just the thing that I think we have to always remember, is that, they're taking our prayers, because it's kind of like they're like Jesus' best friend, taking it straight to Jesus, right? So those are my favorites. Amanda, I think you brought one of your favorites with you today.
I did. He's lurking behind us, which is exactly where I want him to be.
Yes.
Before I tell you about my favorite, I have to tell you something, Renee, that I don't know if I ever told you. So one day you and I were walking out of St. Joseph, out of the church, and we were talking about the Blessed Mother. And I have to tell you, every time you talk about the Blessed Mother, you glow. I kid you not, you glow. So it's just, there was something going on, and it just wasn't great. And you brought up the Blessed Mother, and it's like her graces were working through you so beautifully at that moment. And because of your kind of love for the Blessed Mother and how much she inspires you, it inspired me in a very beautiful way. And that's when I did the consecration to the Blessed Mother, because I know you love consecrating yourself to her, and it's just the most beautiful, powerful thing ever.
Amanda, it's good I chopped the red onions before because I can't cry right now. No,
I know, but it's very inspiring. I just want to say your like devotion to the Blessed Mother is the most beautiful thing, and it's what's helped my relationship with the Blessed Mother grow even more because of how much she works through you and how much you trust in her that she gives you these abilities to spread her grace, basically. But back to my friend behind me, Saint Michael is my all-time favorite saint. He's my go-to. It's just he is definitely the most amazing protector. I always laugh, I joke, I say, how messed up can I be that I need someone who wasn't even a human to be my patron saint? But the power of Saint Michael with the attacks of the devil and just with bad spirits and everything, he will never fail, ever.
So we don't want to really give it like a Bible study right now, but Saint Michael was the saint that kind of defeated Satan, right?
Yeah.
And he's strong, and I think it's funny you say it because of you. I have such a stronger devotion to him because he's like, you too, Christine? Because of her, right? We all have. Dara, I mean, I know her best friend is Saint Anthony. I mean, they're just like
it's just
BFF.
The prayers of Saint Michael for me have never failed me.
Right.
I can't say everything I prayed for has always happened or whatnot, but what's meant to happen through his prayers have happened, and he's definitely guided me where his prayers have guided me closer to Jesus, even when it's the opposite of what I was asking for. His protection is unreal.
Well, you know, a prayer is always answered, which we know. It just might not be. So, you know, really quick, guys, I just chopped up this kale. I'm going to just throw in my red onion. This is like a half a medium red onion. So now you guys don't have to bother me to make this anymore. You guys can make it. I actually cooked a cup of quinoa. And just according to the directions, you know, on the box, really simple. And all quinoa is the same. I just like the color of the red. Doesn't taste any differently. I'm taking a whole bag of golden raisins, really quick, dumping this in here.
You don't fry them, like pan sear them?
No, I do not.
I did not know that.
We try to be healthy. It is a salad. We're taking some pine nuts, really quick. And a whole bag of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Yes, that's the key. So, Dara, while I'm mixing this, I want you to tell us why St. Anthony is like your best friend.
Honestly, I think it all started with like my mom and my grandma. Ever since I was like 2 and 3, I knew who St. Anthony was. I knew all about him. I knew his whole life story. And I think like just being Chaldean, I feel like St. Anthony is such a popular saint among us. And he honestly he's always there. I feel like in a way he kind of like stalks me. I promise you. He always like, yeah. I stalk him too. I stalk him too.
Maybe watching you, watching over you, yeah.
He always like appears to me, and every time I'm like struggling with anything, and sometimes, you know, he is a patron saint of like lost articles. So sometimes even when I feel like I'm losing myself, I always ask him for like, you know, that help, that extra guidance, and I find my way back. Whether it's like I'm losing
he's the patron saint of losing anything.
I love him. I can't really explain it in words, but just like the connection I have with him is something that's just like incredible. I just love him.
It's so beautiful. I mean, really, and Miss Christine, we know you have your
all of them.
She just all the saints are her best
I'm
friends.
all over the place.
You know, really, truly, all of them are your best friends. So who's like your BFF?
Right now?
Yes,
at
right
the
now.
moment?
This week.
So the saint of this week is Saint Michael.
Saint Michael.
Which is why I stole him from Amanda.
Oh, wow.
But I did start off with Saint Anthony. Like my first love of saints was with Saint Anthony. And then after him, I moved on to Saint Rita. And
Saint Therese was your friend for quite some time.
Saint Therese,
yes. She loved Saint Anne for a long time too.
Yeah.
Saint Anne, I stalked her.
Yeah.
So Saint Anne is the Blessed Mother's mother, right?
So, and then Mother Mary, I never used to pray to her. And within this past year, I began to pray to her, and I found a love for the miraculous medal. And so I've been praying to her and to Saint Michael. So it's been kind of both.
You know, I mean, the miraculous medal is actually, guys, I'm going to show you guys. I'm really giving away all my resume. I'm going to show you guys. The miraculous medal was actually, you know, I was so blessed to travel to the Church of the Miraculous Medal in Paris last year, and the story, I mean, I would love for us to really tell the stories of all the saints, but please I think it's so important. Like, there's a new saint that I could fall in love with, and Saint Catherine Labour is actually the saint that the Blessed Mother appeared to have the miraculous medal made. You guys, I'm doing about like a half a cup here, and this is for my dressing. And you know, that medal, the Blessed Mother actually designed. and she asked St. Catherine Labor to create this medal, and the medal, I actually have one. It's very small, but you too. Yeah. And it's basically, the Blessed Mother pouring down graces for the whole world. She's standing on a globe. People need to go look up the image. It's very beautiful. It's very powerful. And St. Mother Teresa used to pass them out in thousands, Again, we don't believe in a medal, right? But it's kind of like why we keep pictures of people. They're great reminders. And I think that's important, to kind of get that misconception. So you guys, I have some white balsamic vinegar here, and we're going to do equal parts. So I did a half a cup of olive oil. I'm doing like a quarter cup of balsamic vinegar. Rice wine. Have you guys ever had this rice wine? It's like a sweet vinegar. Okay, so I'm taking like a tablespoon of garlic, just adding this in, fresh garlic. You don't have to use fresh garlic. You can use garlic powder. But girls, do you guys like, Dara, it's funny because I know that you have like a lot of your coworkers who aren't necessarily Catholic. And you give some interesting stories.
Yeah,
right?
I was actually just telling Christine right now because I brought my
tablespoon of sugar. Sorry,
okay. I brought my box of like all the novenas that I've collected over the years and stuff, and I just gave her 2 because every time I go and buy a novena, I always buy 2 copies of that same novena.
Right.
And I always said I'm going to give one to a person just that I feel like would benefit from it or that would need it.
Right.
So long story short, I worked for a doctor who wasn't Catholic and didn't believe at all, like in our faith and the saints and stuff. And I started off with a St. Anthony because obviously he's my best friend. And just one day he was like, we were at lunch and he was asking me, he goes to me, what are you reading? And I'm like, oh, I'm just reading, this book about St. Anthony. He goes, who's that? So I was telling him like a little bit about him, but then it just kind of like a light bulb went off. I'm like, I should, like try to just, reach out to him and see like what will happen. So I just like left the book on his desk. I didn't, like push, I just like put it on his desk. That's all I did. And then he ended up coming to me like days later saying, that book that you left me, I actually like really, really enjoyed it. So then that's when the whole thing like happened when I decided I'm going to buy 2 copies of each book and then just give one to each person that I come across, and maybe that'll like, teach them about the saint and
it's amazing, you guys. Just a few, I'm just like twisting. Go ahead, Amanda. I'm just doing a few turns of salt and a few turns of pepper, and we're going to shake this up, pour it on the salad, and that's the dressing. Go ahead, Amanda. What were you about to say?
What's so amazing about the saints, Renee, is for Catholics and non-Catholics alike, we forget that they were actual living real people for the most part. I mean, minus my St. Michael. But their lives are just beautiful examples of how to live a moral, pure life. It doesn't have anything to take Catholicism out of the way. It's just they were such amazing examples of how to be good, loving people, to do kind deeds for one another, to show how we should live and how we should treat everybody with respect and with love. Look at Mother Teresa, Saint Mother Teresa, I'm sorry. Right. She was going to meet the president, or who was it, the president at one point, or the Pope, and she was late and she didn't care. Why? Because there was a person on the street who needed her help. Like, I kind of look at that and say, do I have enough courage? Do I have enough, not faith, just courage to be that kind to a different a human soul, no matter who or what they are? And the saints are so beautiful in teaching us that.
Well, it's interesting because I think a lot of times we often think of saints. I mean, you can look at St. Paul and really quick about him. I mean, that's the funny thing about saints, because he actually was a killer. He was a murderer. And some of the greatest saints were the worst sinners. And that's why they're real. They are real people that listen to the call of God and transform their lives, with the exception of the Blessed Mother, which, but a lot of them, many of them, St. Augustine, St. Paul, I could think of, St. Peter denied Jesus. There were just too many of them. And I think it's just a beautiful thing to practice that in our faith and to know them. So guys, this is the finished product. That's how it should look. So easy, right? Really super fast. It's a colorful salad. It just brings like a lot of color to the table.
It brings me joy.
Yeah, I know. My mouth is like watering for me right now.
So I think it's important that we strive to become saints. Being a saint does not mean we won't sin, nor does it mean we won't make any mistakes. But a saint knows the bad news of sin and the good news of salvation. Let's always pray to see the truth. May God bless you, and may God's Spirit always bring light to your soul. See you next time.